What's up, guys? So I'm continuing my look at my favorite books that were released this year. In this video, I'm going to talk about my favorites from DC Comics. I've got two runners-up and then one absolute favorite. And the runners-up on this were really close, almost like they tied because I just couldn't decide between them. But I guess the second runner-up barely is Batman. So, in specifically the Chip Zdarsky run of Batman. This started right here with Batman number 125, the failsafe story arc. If you guys have heard anything about that, Batman has to figure out how to defeat Failsafe, which is a robot that he built that knows how to do everything that he can do and has the same mentality, the same tactical thinking and that kind of stuff. The Justice League can't help him because obviously he's got provisions for all of those guys, and it's just a really interesting story. The art by Jorge Jimenez is fantastic. This book was just full of action, full of unbelievable stuff. It's just been a really fun action-packed run. I loved it. My first runner-up, and again, it was close. It was hard to decide between this one and Batman. And also, this one's a little bit of a cheat, too, that I need you guys just to let me have, because the first two issues came out at the end of 2021, but most of this series has come out this year, and that is Dark Knights of Steel. This story has been phenomenal. Tom Taylor's writing, as always, is just fantastic. This is set in a world where think of Game of Thrones meets DC Comics, right? Where you have, instead of superheroes living in cities, you have different kingdoms and different houses. The House of El, you have I can't remember what it's called. Black Lightning has his own kingdom. You have the Amazons, and it's kind of like Game of Thrones in that the different houses are uneasy with each other, have uneasy alliances, and then things happen and they get mad at each other, they go to war. But it's just really cool seeing these characters in this different world, painted in this different light, and there are some differences in these characters, so it's not just a straight translation of Superman and Batman and Green Lantern in a fantasy world. There's differences as well that help them to fit this world even more, so it's really cool to see those characters. I love the series. It's not done yet. I think we're on number 9 currently. This one's number 3 right here because this was the first that came out this year. But the art is really fantastic, and again, it's just really cool seeing these characters in this environment, in this setting. This is my, I guess, second favorite or runner-up from DC this year. And my absolute favorite from DC Comics, this was a no-brainer, and if you guys have watched any of my videos, you probably know what I'm going to say. Batman Superman, World's Finest, written by Mark Waid with art by Dan Mora. This book is phenomenal. This book is everything that I want from DC Comics, right? It's bright. It has fantastic art. It has a really interesting and exciting stories full of adventure, lots of guest stars. This book makes me feel like I am reading a comic book about my superpowers figures from when I was a kid in the 80s. This just has that old school sort of Bronze Age feel to it, but with modern writing and modern art. Everything about this book I love. Now it's set in the past, but we don't know like how long. Like Dick Grayson is Robin in this book, for example, but he's older. Like he's not kid Dick Grayson. He's an older teenager, but he's still Robin. Batman's still got the yellow oval, that kind of thing. It's just has this classic feel. If every book from DC were like this, DC would be the #1 top of the charts every single month. I was hoping that maybe this would spin off into like a separate line of DC books, maybe that were set in like 1985, because that's what this feels like. Again, fantastic art, amazing stories, so much fun and adventure. I absolutely love this book from DC. So that's it, guys. My favorite books from DC Comics that were released this year. Be sure to let me know in the comments what your favorite DC Comics were that were released this year. And be sure to like, follow, subscribe, whatever you need to do so you can see my next video where I talk about my favorite books from Marvel.